Hey, welcome back to the studio. Today we're going to be talking about the Hulu original show, The Bear. The question that we're asking in this video is, why did Carmen, I keep wanting to call him Carmine, why did Carmen change the name of the restaurant from The Beef to The Bear at the end of the show? I have my thoughts. Josh, do you have any thoughts? What you got?
Well, I mean, starting off, the show opens with the bear coming out of the cage, and then at the end, we also see the bear. And I think there's a lot of symbolism with that, and also him accepting the relationship between him and his brother.
Yeah.
I think that's ultimately why he changed the name. Spoiler, right off the bat, you get it. But I think it was all about the relationship, and his brother in death kind of gave him the restaurant, and then he accepted that, and then was able to change the name after that.
There's a lot in this show about acceptance. Probably if we were to really go in depth about analyzing the show, you could probably look at like the it's the 5 stages of grief, I want to say.
I don't know. There's a lot.
It's something like that. You could probably analyze the show and break it down that way. But there's a lot of things, obviously Chicago. So Chicago Bears, that's a big thing. Their last name is,
I don't remember.
It's like Berzoli.
Yeah.
Or something. And so they call him Bear sometimes. And also what they wanted to name the restaurant when they were kids, they had an idea of a restaurant that Carmen and Michael wanted to open together called The Bear. So there's a lot of things that are happening in the show between the characters.
Yeah.
Between a character who is in the show and a character who is not in the show.
Yeah.
Just sort of his memory is running around, and we're seeing all the things that he left behind. But I think probably the big thing about the show is what you said, his acceptance.
Yeah. John Bernthal played the brother.
Yeah.
That was only in it for like one episode.
One scene.
One scene. He wasn't in it much at all. It's primarily this character, Bear.
And I forget his name character all the time. He was in Shameless.
Yeah.
He played right now. Who did he play in Shameless? Lip?
He played Lip in Shameless.
Yeah. I actually saw an article recently from him talking about Shameless and the Bear.
Jeremy Allen White.
He was talking about how in Shameless it kind of felt like he wasn't acting anymore. He was just, going through the motions in the show. Like the show was too long. And how the similarities of being like a young, talented guy in Boston, or not Boston, but Chicago, similar to Shameless, but also a different thing. And I think he really did. He brought the acting chops in this show. Killed it, absolutely. Almost every one of his scenes, there's like emotion on his face in minor scenes that you're in there, you're living in it.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about specifically the final episode, the scene where he goes to the I don't even know what you would call that, like the group
meeting.
He just goes through all of his emotions and gives us his relationship with his brother, with the restaurant, what he's feeling. You can see how stressed he is, but yet he wants this to work, and you kind of understand everything, and him accepting the change of the name and in the restaurant, everything.
Yeah, the show feels like throughout the whole thing, number one, it starts being kind of dark, it kind of gritty. Everything feels like it's falling apart. And as the show goes on in each episode, it feels like it just gets a little bit better. The kitchen gets better, the staff gets better. He sort of starts to get better.
Mhm.
But, ultimately it's about, even though he's trying to make the restaurant better, it feels like he's trying to fix what his brother made. And to do that, and he talks about in his speech about him wanting his brother to just acknowledge him, to acknowledge his skill and what he created. And that's why he went out and did all these things. And so while the show feels like he's trying to fix everything, in the end, when he realizes that his brother did love him, and his brother did appreciate him, that's when he can move on from fixing the restaurant to making something new with the people there.
Yeah. I want to talk about, I'm going to go to the slides right quick. So some of the characters, my favorite character in the show was this character, Richard.
Okay.
What he called him, cuz. He's not his cousin, he's his brother's best friend. He was my favorite character in the show for his character development.
Oh, yeah.
The way they made this character, it was phenomenal. You got from the beginning of the show, me and Wyatt both had the same emotions. The beginning of the show, he was with his brother in the restaurant, and so he did it a certain way, and then this other character, the brother comes in, Cameron, and takes over the restaurant, and he wants to do things different. So he gives a lot of pushback. And me and Wyatt both, like the first 2 episodes, you're like, fire him, make an example of him, and fire him, because that will prove to everybody that he's serious about the restaurant and all this stuff. But then he talks to his daughter on the phone, and you see that in like the later half, I think, of the second episode, and he shows this emotion, and then as the episodes progress, you see his more and more that he calls him cuz because he's so close to his family, and he's more than just this friend that his brother had. He's his friend to the family, to them. He grew up with him. So firing him would not be the right choice. He just needed to, also he needed to accept that his brother had died, and go through that emotions, and then kind of accept how the restaurant is being run now.
Yeah, I would agree. Even as the show goes on, even later in the show, close to the end of the show, Richard is still kind of being, he doesn't want to accept that the kitchen is changing.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to accept that everybody's kind of found this new thing. It's the order, the work. They're starting to appreciate what they can do because of Carmen coming in and showing them, because of Sydney coming in and helping to run the kitchen as the sous chef. Everybody in the kitchen is starting to grow and develop, and Richard doesn't want to change.
Yeah.
Even close to the end of the season, everybody else does, but he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a really good way to tell a character of like, no, not everybody is going to move on or develop the same. You're going to have characters that are stuck in their ways and are going to remain stuck in their ways. But when he pulls the letter, because he found a letter early in the season, and he put it back because he didn't want to deal with it. He didn't want to think about it. When he pulls out the letter and he gives it to Carmen, that's good character growth. That's change. That's what you needed from his character.
Yeah. You also, I think, you see with him not just the relationship of the restaurant, you also see, I feel like it shows us a lot where he can interact with the customers too, because he's seen these customers like every day or at least once a week for years upon years.
Yeah.
And even like there's a beautiful scene like episode 1 when they start service, the customers start coming in and he's like joking with them, and you can tell and feel it's like these are people he knows. You know,
Mm-hmm.
in the town, in the Chicago, people that are on the street corner and stuff like that have eaten here for years.
So yeah, he's a necessary character. He's one that you need. But ultimately, it really comes down to what the restaurant has to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you need him for what the restaurant will be in the future.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it was a great decision for them, for the writers and for the characters in the shows. Don't get rid of his character. Don't fire his character because they need him.
Yeah.
But as the show ends and Carmen realizes that his brother is still looking out for him.
Yeah.
Because that's how the show ends. It's like he reads the letter and he realizes, oh, my brother's still looking out for me with the whole tomato sauce thing. That's when I think a switch is flipped in Carmen's head of the kitchen runs well.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is kind of on board. Sydney comes back in the end. The baker, what's the baker's name?
The baker's name is Marcus.
He comes back. So the kitchen's running, but now fully it has to change. It has to become something new. His vision is alive. His brother's vision is alive. And it's just sort of a beautiful ending to the show. If they don't do another season...
That's Marcus, by the way.
Yeah.
I put up a slide.
If they don't do another season to the show, it's just a beautiful show.
I mean, I don't know if they will do a second season. They might, because it's so well loved.
Mm-hmm.
But what are some of the other characters? You want to talk about Sydney for a second?
Yeah, we'll touch on a few of the other characters. Sydney's a big part of the show because she knows that she has skill, but she also is 100% invested in Carmen's skill.
Yeah,
she knows that he has skill. In the last episode, she's talking to Marcus because they both quit. And she said, my favorite dish, because I went out and I tried everything in New York down to like my last penny. And my favorite thing that I ate was something that Carmen made. It made for, if you look at it retrospectively, her coming in with just such an open mind and what she wants from this place, and then seeing how bad it is and then what it could be.
She's still like, she's like young too, coming in and trying to, he kind of puts her in charge of the restaurant essentially.
Yeah. But then he starts to test her as well. He starts to tell her, no, this isn't good enough, or you're being too impatient. You want things to move too fast. And that's him still being caught up in trying to make the restaurant work.
Yeah.
Still some of the emotions that he hasn't dealt with and he hasn't grown past. And because she doesn't have that connection with the restaurant, she knows what it could be. But he's still holding back. And he's doing it to help her grow. But I think he's also doing it because he can't at this moment change. Her interactions with Rick are always funny because they end up yelling at each other. I think
ends up
she stabs him at one point. Just really good characters. Marcus as well. Just wanting to bake, having a love for the donuts, especially
the donuts and the cake.
Every time they show him making, like baking, that makes me want to bake. Cooking, yeah, I want to cook. But the baking especially, man, they start showing the donuts, like the glaze and the sprinkles, everything.
I want to be able to like cook some croissants. Like I know that wasn't part of the show, but I love me a good croissant.
Croissant.
You're just gonna see me one day like fully like just cooking up some croissants or something.
I believe I'll get in there. I'll make some croissants with you.
Yeah. That's all I have.
That's all you. Yeah, it just a well-made show.
Fantastic show.
Did it get you to cry? It actually got me to cry.
Yeah, I don't know if I
You can
shed
be
I don't know if I
honest.
shed a physical tear, but that last, that last episode with that speech, that I felt that. I
See,
felt
it
it.
wasn't the speech. I would agree the speech was beautiful, fully invested.
Mhm.
But it's when he opens the letter and he just turns it over and it says,
Oh yeah, I
and
totally forgot about
it
that scene.
simply just says, I love you.
Hmm. Yeah, I
That,
forgot about that
that got
scene.
me. That was
Yeah,
beautiful.
that actually probably that got me.
Yeah. I was, whew. But that's kind of our thoughts on the bear. On why Carmen changes the name. It's because he's moving forward. We appreciate you guys coming here and checking out the video. If you come around often, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That's about it, and we'll see you next time.